Welcome to the Redefine Podcast.
All right, happy Tuesday and happy podcast day to you. Welcome to the show if you're brand new, and of course, if you're an existing listener, welcome back. Welcome back. Another beautiful day down here on the vineyard. I thought I'd take a moment or two and record this video, especially given that I'm working with the plants. I mean, I'm always working with the plants, but I got to tend to the vines, the grapevines. Got to tend to the tomatoes. Got to tend. What else we have down here? We have the banana peppers, and we got to tend to those things. And it's really, for me, there's a principle there that applies with gardening and growing your own food, that applies to business entrepreneurship, versus having employment. Now, not to say that there's anything wrong with employment or that there's anything inherently more right with being an entrepreneur and having your own business, but there is I think a certain shift in the pendulum, a certain swing in the pendulum, in this modern age, that is leading people more to, at the very least, consider an entrepreneurial venture. Sorry, there's a lot of bugs out here. So if you're watching the video version of this, I'm going to be fanning these bugs and scratching my neck because they're a little bitey tonight. Anyways, so it really, I was inspired to talk about this topic, this subject today, because I was listening to a Simon Sinek podcast episode, A Bit of Enthusiasm, and he and his guest, in like a short clip, were talking about how there is no longer a meritocracy. Right. This generation is the first generation that has either directly experienced or is only once removed from knowing somebody who has experienced being laid off. And they say that it's no longer a meritocracy because, you can be the most qualified on paper, have the most advanced degree, and graduate at the top of your class, and get a good position, and you do the best work, but at any given moment you can get laid off, right? For no lack of effort of your own, you can just get laid off, and not having anything to do with again, the qualification and the effort that you've put in. And so as a result, the current generation is feeling like there is no longer a meritocracy. And Simon Sinek even went on to say that it's almost as if it's safer to be an entrepreneur. And in a lot of ways, it's right. In a lot of ways, he's correct. I mean, we always did say that there was no security in being an employee. I mean, but that was just really a catch line that we used in network marketing, 30, maybe even longer, years ago, right? It just so happens that because of technology, because of just how business has turned out, nothing to do with network marketing nor the catchphrase that we were using, but just because of how things have kind of evolved over the years, it's ended up being actually true, right? There isn't as much security, if any security, in an employment situation as there was, in the 50s and 60s and so on. In the baby boomer generation, where that's what they relied on, going to work for a corporation or a company for really your entire career, and then retiring with a pension from that particular company, and that was a secure path. No longer the case today. And so I was thinking about this because I was out here working with the plants, and there's I don't know if you could see that in the video. There's peppers. It's a little blurry. There's tomatoes, and what I do when I grow vegetables up here, especially the fruiting kind, I save seeds from the harvest to use and plant for next year's season, right? And a lot of my fellow gardeners, hobby gardeners, and even, homesteaders and small scale farmers, a lot of them actually purchase their seeds, which is okay. Like if you have a trusted source, that you purchase your seeds from, organic seeds and heirloom seeds and things like that, then that's all well and good. But you're still reliant on somebody else to provide the seeds. For me, I'm actually I am surprised how few hobby gardeners and small scale farmers actually practice, and even homesteaders or aspiring homesteaders have practiced or do practice saving their own seeds. Which is funny because, like, I mean, it's ancient teaching, right? Save 10%, save 10% of your crop, to plant for next year, right? Because otherwise, if you don't, then you're going to have to rely on somebody else to provide you seeds, and then therefore food for your next season, right? That you're always going to be reliant on somebody providing for you, season to season, if you don't save your own seed. And so for me, the parallel is that with entrepreneurism, because you well and it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to jump into entrepreneurism like head first and dive in and burn the ships or anything, although that in certain situations that needs to be the case. But for the most part, especially with technology, especially just really the infinite ways you can generate income as an entrepreneur in the modern age, you can really kind of take your time and slowly build to a point where you are self-reliant, right? And again, entrepreneurism can look like a lot of different things. I mean, just an example off the top of my head, you have these influencers and these content creators that are leveraging social media and leveraging the content they create to generate revenues for themselves. So there's lots of different things that you can do as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of different avenues and ventures that you can pursue. Whereas, back in my generation, the what we thought as entrepreneurism was really just more brick and mortar and traditional type business, right? Either you own a store or you own a restaurant, or you create a product and service. You invent something that you hope will get picked up on the retail shelves. That's no longer the case, right? So entrepreneurism and being able to kind of carve out your own living is much more available now than it was before. And thankfully, that's the case, because as we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, there is no longer a meritocracy, and you certainly can't rely on an employment to provide security for you long term. Same thing with the seeds. If you learn and develop the skill of collecting and saving at least a portion of your crops every year that you're growing in your garden, and save those seeds for next year, you'll never go hungry year to year. I mean, unless you have like a crazy record breaking drought or whatever. There's those external things you can't necessarily control, but what you can control is learning how to fend for yourself and save your own seed. And entrepreneurism very much is that, especially something like network marketing, especially content creation and social media marketing and digital marketing. Those are things that you can do, again, with little to no risk. You can kind of slowly ramp up until you get to a point where you're completely self-reliant, right? Same thing with the seeds. I mean, one tomato can give you enough seed for an entire crop for next year, right? It's really all you need, especially if you're just growing for your own sustenance, right? So one skill, learn one new skill with social media or marketing, or just really slowly incorporate and adopt these things that are available to all of us who at the very least have a decent internet signal and decent hardware. Just be willing to take the time to learn and adopt some new things, and you can eventually be self-sufficient and self-reliant in terms of generating the income that you need to participate in modern life without having to rely on employment. Because as Simon Sinek said in that episode, there is no longer a meritocracy. There's no longer a meritocracy. Anyways, I don't know. That was kind of an idea I wanted to share. I don't know. Hopefully it makes sense. But if it doesn't, just leave me a comment in the comment section below, or you can connect with me on Instagram, the Ronnie Cruz, and message me there. Hit me with a DM. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted to share my little aha analogy with you with the seeds and learning to save your own seeds versus purchasing seeds every year from a seed vendor, right? Same thing as entrepreneurism, becoming more and more self-reliant. Anyways, I'm gonna go before I start rambling. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Have a great midweek. We'll catch you on Thursday with a fresh new one. So until then, be well, be safe. See you in the next episode.